I mean, you could search for decades to find something like this and never find it. Yeah. It was just, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. It was thousands of skaters, maybe 15,000 throughout the entire area.
That was David Miles Jr., also known as the godfather of skate here in the city. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco. In this podcast, David traces his own story back to his childhood, which he spent in Kansas City. His mom remarried, moved to San Francisco, and kept urging her son to join her. After a brutal winter in KC, David made the leap. He tells us all about his arrival here, starting to roller skate, and meeting the woman who eventually became his wife and the mother of his children. Join us Thursday for part 2 and the story of the founding of the Church of Eight Wheels. Here's David.
My family's made up of every race on the planet almost. Being in Kansas City, that was good life. We had a good time, went roller skating. Well, I wasn't really a roller skater then. It was my sisters that went skating. I'm actually a high school dropout.
Okay.
I went into the military and all that, and I've always been trying to get out of Kansas City. So, but, I'm a very lucky person. I'm driven to do the things that I do. I've always been like the kind of guy that doesn't follow. I'm not trying to do what you're doing. I'm trying to find me in what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And it's served me pretty well. Both sides of my family, they go way back to, my grandparents are Irish and Indian, and my dad is black from the South. And on my dad's family, they're very religious. My cousin, Natasha Dejournay, she's one of the leading experts on climate change and stuff like that. And on the other side of my family, Ronald McNair was the black astronaut that died on the space shuttle.
Oh, I know that name, yeah.
And he's my cousin.
Okay.
And
these were all folks in Kansas City? Like, did you have a big extended family there?
Well, my dad's side, they were in Birmingham, Alabama, but we all lived in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And my grandparents came from Mississippi. Mm-hmm. There's a place called McGee, Mississippi. Everybody's McGee. Yeah. And so my family, the McGee-McNair family, that's where Ronald McNair is part of that side of our family. Right. And so my family basically in Mississippi, they were at Piney Wood School. Is a prestigious Lutheran-based school. Mm-hmm. And so they've always been associated with Lutheran Church. And last time I went to Kansas City, the church was doing pretty bad, and I'm like, maybe I could create a skate event and help everybody. But it just kind of took me back to all those days where that church started in my aunt's basement. Then they got a storefront, and then this is a church in Santa Barbara. It looks exactly, it's like the same architect must have done it, Lutheran church there. Wow. And then they got this, later on, they got this big stone church. It was like the white Presbyterian church across the street from the Baptist church. A lot of churches back then, and I guess everybody just got too old, and all those places are now like either empty or barely used or in escrow,
Yeah, future skating rinks of America.
Exactly, for me.
Yeah.
But my story is really, I'm not unlike a lot of people. Everybody has struggles. Everybody has issues. My mom, she raised 4 kids by herself, going to nursing school, at the same time working at Safeway. Dang. I used to help her with her homework and stuff.
Oh, right.
Just to get her to, concentrate. I couldn't do anything.
Right.
But, yeah, she was the second ever person to graduate from the nursing school in St. Luke's. St. Luke's is the premier hospital in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And back when I was a kid, the football teams, the Kansas City Chiefs, George Brett, all these guys, baseball. When they went to the hospital, they went to St. Luke's.
Okay.
So she got me autographs from Len Dawson, from Otis Taylor, from all these big in the first Super Bowl guys. And I always felt I was really lucky for that.
Yeah.
Satchel Paige, he lived a block from where I lived as a kid. I used to empty his trash.
What?
I was a kid that would go to your house and go, "Hey, you need any work done?"
Right.
You didn't even empty the trash, you didn't even do anything. And I was always kind of like that. I was always trying to do things, make things happen that ain't supposed to happen.
That'll come in handy later.
Yeah, but as far as that,
do you know how your parents met?
My dad was a chiropractor. He was like, I don't know how they met though.
That's fine.
And my mom was a nurse. Always wanted to be a nurse. She was a licensed practical nurse. I remember as a kid, but they divorced when I was like 7, 6.
And you grew up with your mom. And your
they
your
was in a
siblings.
home for a year.
Okay.
The first grade, all of that in summer. I remember that. My dad dropped us off there. Like, "Hey, I'll be back to pick you up, son." So, yeah, he came. No, he never came back. My mom came and got us. And I did not have that fatherly son relationship. We didn't have talks or anything. We didn't interact at all. He came by once a week, gave my mom $33. And then he would give me and my 2 sisters $1. Now, who gets the extra penny? It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should get it. I'm the only son.
Yeah.
Well, my sister, she's older. She's the oldest. Well, then my other sister, she's the baby. So, if you could take it, that was the kind of, which is really strange because my kids, they are into what I'm into. They're taking over the roller disco at Burning Man.
Awesome.
They're building the EDC events and stuff like that. They work here. We're all into it, and they tell me how proud they are of everything. And I'm like, wow, that's great. And I'm like, I never had that talk with my dad. I never wanted to do what my dad did.
Yeah.
But I also don't hero worship, really.
Yeah.
I don't. I think everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, no matter what. Color, race, creed, sexual orientation, whatever. We all are pretty cool people.
So you grew up with your mom and your siblings, yeah? You're the only boy, so 3 sisters?
Yep.
Dang.
The women raised me.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
What was that like? And if you don't mind, just, you don't have to say your age if you don't want to, but like what decade or so was this that you grew up?
I grew up in the 60s.
Okay.
The 60s.
In Kansas City.
Yep, Kansas City.
What was that like?
All that. It was. I used to think it was normal.
Sure, it's what you know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember not knowing anything about Jewish people or anything until this guy at the liquor store. One of the things I used to do to make money was to get sodas bottles. And he would always take them from me and give me money for them. And so I thought he was the coolest guy in the world. And then one day I went in there and they says, "Oh, you like that Jew guy, huh?" And I'm like, "Jew guy? What's that?"
Yeah.
And then I did not really relate to that again until I came to San Francisco. In Kansas City, there's only like 4 kinds of people. There's blacks, there's whites, there's Spanish, and then there's Italians. And, those are the only kind of people you see or know. And I was always curious about people. I'm that guy where a girl came from what island she was from, but she could only speak Spanish. And so everybody was like, I don't know. I talked to her. And so I started, I'm like inclusive. Hey, welcome to our school, all that kind of stuff. That's how it always was for our whole family in our neighborhood. it wasn't like you are this and you are that. It's more like, hey, we go to the same school. Hey, we shop in the same place. Hey, how you doing? Want to come hang out with us?
Yeah.
And
Well, you said you don't really think of yourself as in any one box or following any one rules, so you probably give that generosity to other people too, right?
well, that's kind of how it always was.
Yeah.
And
Do you think that's because of your parent, like your mom, or what do you think?
well, like I
Made you
said,
that way.
my grandparents. Okay, everybody on my grandparents, my mom's side of the family is very light-skinned people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, many of them you can't tell if they're black or white or what. So I remember being at the store as a kid and my grandmother with me, and the people whispering, "What's she doing with that little black kid?"
Oh God.
And
Right.
That's my grandmother. What you talking about? So we always just lived with on that.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents couldn't get married in a church
Right.
because the people wouldn't allow it.
Right.
They had to get married. I think it was in the rain. They said, and it rained on them, and they couldn't. They was going to get married anyway.
Yeah.
My grandparents are probably the biggest influence on me because my grandfather was a porter on the railroad, Kansas City Southern,
Okay.
and he ended up the vice president of the railroad. When he passed,
Mm-hmm.
and my grandmother, they were. You heard of the Hallmark cards, right?
Oh yeah.
The halls there in Kansas City.
Oh.
My grandmother used to work in their kitchen,
Dang.
and so my grandfather didn't like that, and so he bought her a house, put her in that house, and he would travel, all the time on the train.
On the train, yeah.
But she didn't have to work, and she didn't have to work for the halls and stuff like that. That was kind of the environment that was in. I try to do the same for Rose.
Yeah. So you grew up with, and are those your mom's parents or your dad's parents?
My mom's parents.
Got it. So you grew up pretty close to them.
I just now, since I've been in San Francisco, got more in touch with my father's side of the family.
Okay.
I did not know them except for once when we was really small. My parents were breaking up. They was deciding whether to have us go to I might have said Mississippi. I would have to go to Alabama, Birmingham,
Mm-hmm.
or Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when they drove us down there in a 62 Ford Falcon, I remember that.
Oh, dang.
Because I'm in the car going, Kathy, where we going? Where we going? Anyway, I don't know what happened there with that, but they took us back to Kansas City. But recently, my cousin sent me pictures of that building, and it was and I distinctly remember it because the Birmingham Steel building was close by, and I remember being a little kid looking over there at the fire coming up out of the smokestacks, and I don't know what it all is. Maybe my dad owns it or has something in it. I'm never going there.
Yeah.
I'm never want anything to do with that. I don't want to go to the South, period.
Mm-hmm.
I love California. I don't need to go anywhere. San Francisco, if I want to go to another part of town, another country, I can just go to another part of town,
Yeah.
and there you go.
Yeah.
And but
you got in touch with your dad's family recently?
well, I got a really good relationship with Natasha, and they have tried to reach out to me. I just don't like traveling.
Yeah.
They might still be in Alabama though, because, like I said, they're a very religious family. They have ministers in their family, a church that has following, and it's not that I'm a heathen or anything, but I'm kind of.
You're not like them.
No,
I don't. Different. So the point was, you really mostly grew up with your mom's family.
Yeah. My
Not
mom
your
raised
dad's.
us, and
Yeah.
her parents, my grandparents, those are the ones I know, and those are the ones that I have a relationship with, and I recognize the other part of my family, and I'm proud of them as well. They have reached out to me, and they were for real. They weren't like the head of the family had passed, and they called me, and I wanted to feel, you know, that, but I just, all the years, I'm 65 now. This happened, I must have been 60, 58, something like that. And I'm like, after all these years, what?
There's nothing there.
I want there to be.
Right.
But personally, it's me and Rose against the world. That's how I roll.
You said you were in the Army, you dropped out of high school.
Oh, yeah.
So, but, and you can share those stories by all means, but I want to know what it was that brought you to San Francisco. How did you get here in the first place?
Well, I had been in Kansas City doing pretty good, and I was a bricklayer there. There's a lot of brickwork.
Yeah.
And so I was to the point where I was getting my own jobs and not just dependent upon the union. And my mom, she had fell in love with her high school sweetheart, Melvin Lloyd.
Okay.
Hoo-wee. So she came out here to San Francisco, and that's where she found that he was here.
Okay.
And so Kansas City is a place you leave.
Yeah.
And so she hooked up with him again, and they got married.
And how old were you around this time?
20.
Okay.
And so I was basically taking care of my sisters. I was paying her rent. I was buying clothes for my nieces and nephews. It was not an issue for me. I've never been a guy from money and all that. I take care of mine, And so it just got really, really cold one year. It was really cold. It was like below zero every day. You can't work. And so I was on unemployment, and I was just kind of dissatisfied, tired of this. How long can I do this? I need my own life. And my mom was out here going, come to California.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great in California. Oh, you can do this and you can do that. And I'm like, yeah. Nah, I like Kansas City. And then
did you already have an idea of California? I feel like people who are not from here might have an idea.
Once I did.
Through movies and TV and whatnot.
When I was in Job Corps, I stayed with a family in South Dakota, and I graduated, and I stayed there a little longer. And so, I don't know what I was thinking about. A bunch of us was going to get together. We was going to go from Rapid City to Omaha, where somebody lived there, and then to Kansas City because I needed to get all my stuff, which I really had very little. And then was going to go to California, like some movie. You know what I mean? And we got to Omaha. That was it. And so I got a little job in Omaha, working there, getting paid every day you work a day. And after that, I went home. I shouldn't have went home. And they convinced me to stay. And ever since then, I'm working and all, but I'm like, oh, I don't know. This is not cool. So my mom's telling me, come to California. Come to California. And pretty soon, it starts to sound pretty good.
Yep.
So it got really cold. I couldn't work. I had that last unemployment check, and I'm like, this is enough to go to California.
Yeah, it is.
And I thought about it. I couldn't keep doing this. So I got that one-way bus ticket. I remember my ex-girlfriend there, I told her, you ever heard that thing, hey, I'm going to go get a pack of cigarettes, I'll be right back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I told her that. I'll be right back. I'm just going to the store. This bag is, this is a laundry. And I got a dude took me to the bus station. I came all the way. I just said, forget it. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. You got to think of it like, especially the park. When I first got here, I did not know, okay? I did not know that the Golden Gate Bridge was in San Francisco.
Okay.
I didn't care about them things. Who cares?
Yeah.
You know.
You knew what it was. You just didn't know where.
I heard of it. I
Didn't
knew
care.
what it was.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
But then when the bus came, Vallejo, I knew nothing about Bay Area, nothing.
Yep.
It was never like, oh, I can't wait to get to San Francisco. I come from Vallejo, and I'm like, bridge. What is this, a river? And so as we get closer, and you come to the Bay Bridge, I'm like, I've seen this. And then you look over, there's another bridge. And I'm like, nah. But here's the most disappointing thing. You come across, and the bus drops you off on 7th and Market.
Yep.
7th, what the? I mean, there's just bums, and they had a Jack in the Box. We don't have Jack in the Box back there. I wouldn't got one because I'm always trying to eat what they eat. And that was the worst piece of food I ever ate in my life. It tastes like dog food.
Welcome to San Francisco.
And this was before they redid.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And so but the reason why, my mom was the reason why I even jumped on this bus. My stepfather now, Melvin Lloyd, which wasn't my favorite guy in the whole wide world because I'm young, this is my mom, so no guy would have been good enough.
Right.
And so he takes me on a little drive tour of San Francisco, which consisted of first going out of downtown, then going up Van Ness. I remember that distinctly. All the car dealerships were there.
Yeah.
We went close to Golden Gate Park, but not to the park.
Not yet.
And then he took me where he hangs out. It's called Double Rock. It's like where gangsters of the past that are now old hang out and reminisce on the good old days.
What part of town is that?
Close to Hunters Point.
Okay.
3rd Street. It's like a street behind 3rd Street. And then he took me to his cousin's house, which was on a super steep hill.
Yeah.
This is ridiculously steep. It's like, why do they let people build a house on a hill like this?
Yeah.
And you could see the fog coming in. That was pretty cool stuff. And so, but we lived in Daly City. I was infatuated with BART. With BART, you can go and see things and still get home. And so I always went to Swope Park in Kansas City. Swope Park was everything. You go out there, you party at a swimming pool, all that other stuff. And so I looked, this is Golden Gate Park. Let me go out here and see this Golden Gate Park. I remember the 21 Hayes stops at 6. And so I got off a block before the ending, and I walked into the park. And so I walked up, there's this little shack, and you come out by the Conservatory of Flowers. It was a beautiful day. This was in February, but it was really warm, like 70 degrees, which I'm just chuckling about because
part of
it's freezing in Kansas City. I'm like, God, I'm glad I came here.
Was this like 77 or so?
This was 79.
79, okay.
This was February of 79.
Okay.
I remember that distinctly because I remember the exact day, March the 1st, of seeing the park on a Sunday. So this was like a weekday. I just came out. I didn't know roller skating had never entered my mind.
Oh.
And so I went to the conservatory and saw what people are doing. They're basically laying out in the grass, kind of. And I'm like, hey, let me try that. I went down. Okay, 1, 2, that's enough. So when I get up, I saw 4 people go by on rental skates. And I'm like, wow, that's great. You can skate out here? You don't get in trouble for it? Because my version of skating in Kansas City was to take my sister's skates. We lived on a hill, but wasn't like these hills. And we would skate down the hill, ruin their wheels, all of that. But that was fun, me and my friends. And so I asked him, I'm like, where you rent skates at? And he'd go, oh man, you can go here and there and there. On Sundays, there's like rental trucks and all. Have you ever been here? I'm like, nah. So if you come on Sundays, man, the streets closed. The traffic, there's thousands of roller skaters. I'm like, okay, I'll come out this Sunday. I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
I came out that Sunday, and if you ever see The Wizard of Oz, You know, it's black and white, Dorothy and them running around, and then the tornado comes and it lands on the witch there in Oz, and then when she opens the door,
Yep.
it's all full color. You know, people are dancing, all that stuff. That's what it was like.
That's like the best analogy I've ever heard about. I mean, obviously not your initial coming to San Francisco, but that's like when you arrived.
That's when
you arrived.
Discovered this.
Yeah.
I mean, you could search for decades to find something like this and never find it.
Yeah.
It was just, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. It was thousands of skaters.
Yeah.
Maybe 15,000.
Jeez.
Throughout the entire area.
Yeah.
It was, I'd never seen anything like it before. There were some hippie family-like people that was selling these big giant weed cookies. They would have like a cooler and a little sign. There was nothing to eat. There was no concession stands. Well, they did have Pon and Hum. They were a concessionaire, but they had a truck that would be down the street. Other than that, there was no rules. There was no, well, this is the skate spot. It was just people skating. There were vendor trucks along Fulton that would rent skates. They just drive up, put up a sign, rental skates, and would rent out. It was great.
I mean, for our younger listeners, because I'm a little, we're both around a little bit younger than you. Anyway, like roller skating was the biggest freaking thing in the time you're talking about, right?
Well,
it was like a way of life.
You know how you have the big TikTok thing going down roller skating, right?
Yeah.
Well, back then, it was that. And roller skating was the thing. It was the thing to do, the place to be, but.
And it was big everywhere. Also,
it was big everywhere, but it started getting banned.
Yeah.
And okay, I started skating. This was March the 1st was a Sunday, and so on the 7th, I did not know this, but the Chronicle had came out on the 1st. My first day in the park, the news comes out, and they show pictures of all these people roller skating. And I have on the Church of Eight Will site, you can see those
pictures are
there.
The
Awesome. News articles from way back.
Awesome.
And the roller derby people were there. The people jumping over people and all that. And if you could, it's just like it's like a wonderland. And it was free. It was inclusive. It was every type of person under the sun. Nobody with access to grind. Nobody, no anger, no negativity. Just. Hey, how are you? Are you skating? Well, hey, come skate with us.
All ages too?
All ages, all colors, all sizes, everything that you could determine as different amongst people was there in the park.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is it's like that today.
Yeah.
To this very day.
Yep.
It's like that. But that was magic. I was hooked. I'm there every day.
Yeah.
You know, I would skate. We eventually moved from Daly City to Visitation Valley, and I would skate from Visitation Valley to Golden Gate Park in 45 minutes.
Whoa, okay.
You know, I had different routes that we would go. You know, O'Shaughnessy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, try to skate up O'Shaughnessy. And that's how you get these. You know, that's how you get those muscle legs.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to go to the gym. You know, just try skating up that hill every day. Or even coming to 19th Avenue side. You know, when you skate 19th Avenue and you're coming down, there's a series of houses that interconnect the concrete. And you can just ride it out. Skateboarders know what I'm talking about.
I know it from skating, from watching skate videos when I was a kid.
Yeah, this is what you did every single day.
Dang.
Now I do it every day and get paid. I had to make it my job. I had to. You know, when we were first doing that, I don't know, this might be segueing into something else.
That's fine.
But they were going to ban roller skating in the park.
Still in 79 or?
This was in 79.
Okay.
This is...
Going back to everything's controversial in San Francisco, right?
Oh, yeah. As we were sitting there partying and playing music, you have your boombox. How many people use D-size batteries?
Oh,
you think any young people know what a D-size battery is? No. But you used to have 10 of them in your boombox. You know, and a lot of people look at that and go, those heathen guys on their dangerous roller skates.
They're having too much fun.
We almost ran over Dianne Feinstein once.
Oh.
Totally accidental. I mean, you got to look where you're going. You thousands of people skating here. I know you're used to your big shot and all that, but
when she was mayor?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, not just them, mainly the institutions in the park, the Young Museum, California Arts and Sciences. Our first hangout was in the band shell.
Oh yeah,
the concourse,
right, right by the museums.
Yeah, on both sides of those, they had smooth asphalt, and we would skate and jump off the stairs, and then jump off the next stairs, and people would watch and crowd and see us doing that. And so they wanted to ban roller skating from there because these, radical people on wheels knocking down little old ladies and running over little babies, which never happened. It never happened. We never hit anybody. Within reason, put it that way. Yeah. We're going to talk about this. What is this attitude called? Vision Zero.
Oh yeah,
we're going to talk about that one day.
Yeah,
and you'll be surprised at my thing. But anyway, me and Rose, I met Rose in Golden Gate Park roller skating. I remember the exact day. It's like I had only been in San Francisco for a few months, and she and her friends. There was 3 other girls that she was with. Hey, me and my guys. Hey, checking them out. What's up with that? Yeah. And so I just saw her. She's really small, and the other girl she was with thought that she was just the hottest girl to ever, put roller skates on, and so we just crossed her off. Nah, and. But I just told the guys, see that short one there? Y'all leave her. Don't mess with that one. Y'all leave her alone.
All right.
And they did.
Yeah.
And so, I introduced myself to her. I tried to impress her, which was very difficult, the whole Chinese black interracial thing. But that's been my whole life anyway. So, I found out that she worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken down, 4 blocks from the park, right?
That's a good friend to have.
Oh, that's a great friend. I'm talking bus fare broke, just, hanging out here in San Francisco now, roller skating in the park every day. I mean, I was a bricklayer, though. I was doing that for a while, but there was an earthquake and this wall fell, and I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. So I'm like on my Army benefits and stuff like that. So I would go down there every single day. I'm like, look, I'm going to be here every day. I'm going to come here. You got to give me your phone number. If you don't give me your phone number, I will just come here every day and ask you until you finally give it to me. And one thing I noticed, you can make her laugh. You got her.
Yep.
And so she's like, hee. I'm like, uh-huh. And so that started. We officially went on a date in June the 20th. 1979, and I told her I wanted us to be exclusive, and she says, don't tell my dad.
That was David Miles Jr. On the next Story San Francisco, David shares the story of how he started the Church of 8 Wheels. Part 2 drops Thursday wherever you listen to podcasts. Music for the podcast was produced, performed, and curated by Otis McDonald. Original photography is by Michelle Kilfeather. Aaron Lim of Bitch Talk Podcast is our contributing producer. And the show is produced and hosted by me, Jeff Hunt. Now in our 4th season, we have more than 160 episodes available on our website, storiedsf.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can, please rate and review our show so we can reach even more folks. We love email. Drop us a line at storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay strong, stay healthy, keep dreaming, and we'll see you next time on Storied San Francisco.
This podcast is a proud member of the BFF.FM podcast network. Learn more at podcasts.bff.fm.
BFF.FM, best frequencies forever.